Watch out for her. She's coming. She's coming. And she's ready.
All right guys, we're 6 days out from the Olympia. We're gonna go in here, torture gym, train glute. We won't go quite as heavy today, but I'll talk you through what we're doing. Train glutes today.
You still can kick some ass.
Okay,
Just
go ahead.
try, be sure that you don't do too much volume, you know, not too exhausting, but...
Okay, I will do that. So we just saw Coach. He'll look at me after I'm done training, look at me pose, but he said that we can afford to go a little heavier today. So we'll go like 75%, not to complete exhaustion, but we're not gonna just pump either. That's what I thought we were gonna do. We can get a little bit more intensity in today, and we will. That'll carry us through to the show. Going into the show, I'm gonna split things up a little bit differently. Typically, I hit glutes every time that I train. Today, I'm only gonna hit glutes, so I'm gonna go a little bit harder, do more exercises in one day than I typically do. I'm gonna start with abductors to hit like the outer. It's a little difficult not to go to failure when that's how you're used to training. Like, this in between is not my favorite part. We decrease the volume of training and the intensity just a little bit before show. Kind of at this point, we're 6 days out now. The closer that we get, the less intense. We're kind of tapering into the show, and then the last 2 days we'll finish the peak so that everything looks exactly how we want it to on stage. But if there's too much inflammation, it can kind of hide lines, hold more water, give a softer look than what you necessarily want on stage. This is kind of how I always train. I don't ever have a set number of reps, a set number of sets that I do. So I kind of just gauge it on how my body's feeling. And that's kind of what we'll do today. So for most of my exercises, we'll do maybe 2 or 3 warm-up sets. And then at my top set, we'll do like 2 there. The biggest thing is we're just not pushing to failure. So the muscle is not actually mechanically failing. I'm pushing 75%, and that's kind of hard to explain as far as gauging, but the more that you train, the more you learn your body, the more you know how hard to go and when to pull back. I always have an idea in my head of what my numbers typically are, because some days are harder than others. So you still want to shoot for the same number range, but it's unrealistic to say increase your numbers every single time. So like on those harder days, if I can't necessarily hit the same weight numbers, then I'll drop the weight and go for more reps. But as far as like intensity and fatigue, I'm always shooting for the most, especially in my off season, pushing to failure in some type of way, ultimately exhausting the muscle. But you can do it with more reps or more weight, and kind of shifting those back and forth is how you improve overall. Okay, so we're gonna do Bulgarian split squat, but I've been doing them on the Smith machine the last couple months. My feedback at Miami in June was not to grow my upper body, and my upper body responds to literally any stimulus. So we've eliminated holding as much weight as possible. The only thing I really hold is putting plates on and off of machines, and that's it. Instead of holding dumbbells for the exercise, I'm doing the Smith machine so they can be on my shoulders, and then it also keeps me more stable. My last training session, my energy was low, but it kind of comes in waves. Today we caught a good period, probably like 45 minutes before we left the house. I was like dead, sitting in a chair, leaning on the counter, talking to myself like, you have to find a way to get through this. And you're gonna have those points, and that's kind of where you determine like which way you're gonna go. Are you gonna make it easier and you're gonna eat more food, or take a nap, or are you gonna get what you need to get done and then rest later? It's definitely a balancing act, but at this point I think like we're so close to show, I'm excited. So I start kind of running on more adrenaline, and even through the fatigue, it's a little easier to push through rather than that like week and a half, 2 week out point where you're close but not too close, and it's a little harder. So we're kind of in the home stretch now, and it makes things easier. It's freaking dry. I'm having to drink more water to stay hydrated than I typically do. I don't have intra-workout carbs anymore. I do have EAAs from Perform Nutra, and they help with essential amino acids, but also it's a hydration mix. So it helps with electrolytes too. This is kind of the part I don't love as much as far as like pulling back on training, because training is my favorite part of bodybuilding. Typically, kind of like I almost want to be like intimidated or a little bit afraid of my top set, and then you have to conquer it, and it's a good feeling afterwards. At this point, we're not going that heavy or that intense, so
Watch out for her. She's coming. She's coming. And she's ready.
We're ready. At this point, we're just focusing on contraction, activating the muscle, getting blood flow. We don't want to cause muscle breakdown or inflammation or any of the things you would do for growth. So like as far as like holding back, it's definitely been a learning curve. When I first started competing, my coach would be with me here at the end, really to make sure I didn't go too hard, because that's all I really knew how to train, and kind of guiding me. And then over the years, I've learned to gauge that for myself. So even if I want to go insane, I know it's not in the best interest of getting on the stage in 6 days. So at this point, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bring my best package. And today, that means pulling back on training some. What is nice at this point of training is like the training sessions go a little bit faster. So I can use all the energy that I do have, but I don't have to force it over like what my normal training would be like 2 hours. Since I don't normally have a glute training day, kind of picking my movements as I go based off of feel, what I'm gonna get the most engagement out of today for glutes specifically. And I would say at first, I just followed the plan. On peak week, my coach wrote a specific plan for each day, and that's what I did. And then just over time, as I've learned my body and I've learned training overall, I've learned to gauge it for myself. So I would say like probably a couple years before you should be kind of taking anything into your own hands. I think a coach guiding you is the best plan, especially starting out. But as you learn your own body, it can be beneficial to start giving your input. So it can be really helpful to like journal or logbook your workouts. And then that'll help you keep track of what movements feel good, what movements you're struggling with, what you want to get help with, and then just what movements don't work for you. Hip thrust. I am not familiar with this machine, so I'm gonna get on it first with no weight on it and see where I need to position myself and get a feel for how heavy it is. When you lift, you don't want any space between your back and the mat, but pulling this tight was a pain, but I think we got it. This machine feels really good. My old coach Nelson used to say that wellness is a butt contest. So you need a butt. I just did one set at this weight. I'll do my last set's gonna be here too. It was a little heavier than I anticipated, so we're not gonna push the weight anymore. I'm just gonna really squeeze at the top and hold the rep. I just don't wanna push over into too much inflammation because I'm very sensitive to that. That causes me to hold water, and it takes some time to like disperse it all, and I don't wanna start playing that game. So we need to kind of watch it from here. Yesterday we did our first in-person check-in with Boss in the morning, and he officially cut my cardio. So no cardio as of yesterday, didn't do any yesterday, none today. That's really the biggest change as far as like diet plan. I was doing 40 minutes fasted every morning, and I only started that at 4 weeks out. I did 3 weeks of cardio, which is like insane, because if you followed my past preps, I would be the girl doing 2+ hours of cardio a day. I'm very thankful for that. Boss is a magician. Food is still the same. Low carbs, 0 carbs on my off days from training, just carbs pre and post workout on my training days. That'll probably stay that way until we start carbing up. At this point, we're kind of trying to deplete the body so that when we fill out, we fill the muscles out the way we want to for stage. All right, so we're gonna finish with some different angles of kickbacks with the cable and these straps. These are still fit. I think I got them on Amazon. Any pair will do. You just want them to fit around your ankle, and then we'll attach it to the cable, and that's where I'll get my leverage for the exercise. The most common mistake I see with these is people like want to get as much range of motion, and you're just like using your back, and it should just be your glute. So your foot doesn't need to come super high in the air. Once your glute stops contracting, that's the end of the movement. I'm really just using this to finish pumping my glutes and get blood completely through them. So this gym is in kilograms. I just have to like feel the weight because my brain can't do the math right now from kilograms to pounds. I did 15 kilograms first just to really feel the machine. So we'll do 25, and I'm just gonna change the angle that I'm pumping, and then I'll switch to the other leg.
It's just funny that we here have, you know, the fold.
Yeah.
But on the other side,
not on this side.
I think it's how is it in English? When you
like too tight.
No.
Compressed.
It's compressed from sitting. Yeah, but don't you think that is the natural fold
I mean, yeah.
It is.
I don't know why it's not on this side though.
Maybe because you bend more on that side, or you stand more on that side, or you...
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I think that's just...
It just might be that.
It's just, and when he works on it, he eases it. So I think that's just the reason, because it was just compressed from your natural
Stance. All right, guys, we are at Smith's Grocer. Let me start that over. All right, guys, we're at Smith's. We're gonna get some groceries really quick. We have most of what we need for the basics for the week, but we're gonna get peak week specific stuff that we'll use towards the end of the week heading into the show. First, we're gonna try to go around the store in a normal order. So we're gonna start with bananas. I'll probably go through like 2 or 3 bananas. We'll use them Wednesday and Thursday for peaking, and then Friday throughout the day for meals on show day. But I'm gonna get a couple extra because I always crave bananas post-show, weird fact. We're gonna get a couple extra also for Martin because he needs them for the next couple days. These are yellow or green. Hang on. Rice milk's always the fun one to find because it's in a different spot in every store. So I came down the rice aisle and I don't see it. So sometimes it's with like boxed almond milk, but we use that because it has carbs in it. So when we're peaking, we monitor our water. So we'll use rice milk to cook into like our cream of rice. And then that's the liquid, but it adds extra carbs without loading down your digestion. So it's really easy to digest, but you're still getting the carbs in to fill out. We just have to find it. I just like to look at the Pop-Tarts. These are my favorite. We do need raisins, which are, I don't know where they're usually at. We play this game every time we go shopping for peak week food because this is not stuff we always eat, so I don't know where they're at in the store. Okay, so Boss will monitor our electrolytes and our salt. So we get distilled water, so it has nothing in it. And then we'll measure our salt to completely control our electrolyte. And we'll just walk back through and try to find the rest of this crap. So one of the meals is chicken, rice, and banana, and I put it all together, and it's like one of my favorites. And I don't know if it's because I don't usually get that, but it tastes really good. I don't know if I'll get that in off season, but I'd take it. I can't find anything. All of it. Raisins, I can't find rice milk.
New strategy, follow Martin.
Yeah. We paired up with Martin. These help with digestion and going to the bathroom. We're also gonna get stuff to make the boys cookies. Scratch that, I'm not doing all of it. Now we need to find the rice milk. I'll go to Walmart where I know I can get everything. This must be a Western kind of store. I've never been to a Smith's. And Martin said it as if it was like, let's go to Smith's instead of Walmart. As if I've ever heard of that. Here's like canned milk and stuff. And I don't see rice milk. But we do need coffee. Always need coffee. So we've been doing Dunkin the last week, every morning getting Dunkin coffee, but this new Airbnb has a coffee maker. So I'm gonna go back to doing my normal coffee in the morning, and I like the French roast Starbucks. This one. And it's on sale. I put way more on this list because I thought we were going to Walmart, which we might have to get rice milk if I can't find it at the store. Y'all, this is my first grocery haul. Apparently it's bizarre for someone to follow you around in the grocery store with a camera because we're getting a whole lot of looks. They're like, are you doing YouTube? Yeah. Well, we need to find dairy because we need eggs. So we'll just keep walking around. We have found the rice milk. It ended up being in the cereal aisle. That makes like a lot of sense. So it's milk made from rice. So I've learned recently that if you grind up almost anything, you can make it into milk. I usually only need like 2 of them. And then we're gonna get whole eggs, ice, because the freezer doesn't have ice and it's hot here. Baggies, because we didn't bring a ton of containers. And I need contact solution. Dairy, we need dairy. Yogurt, I see a sign for yogurt. Yeah, and then baggies will be like in the picnic aisle. Everything else we should know how to find. And I love looking at chip. That looks good. Maybe we'll go down the chip aisle. There's foils and stuff down this aisle, so let's get baggies.
The eggs.
And eggs are right behind us. We'll just get the big ones. Martin likes this kind. I don't really care. So we'll get back. I don't know. I guess because you don't have to coordinate as much. And really, I won't get eggs for peaking, but I need them for the next couple days. And if your mama never told you, check your eggs. We need to go on the other side to get down that side, because there's probably contact solution. And we have Oreos. My favorite is normal Oreo, but I do like the seasonal flavors, and they're kind of fun to hunt down. May or may not have ordered the Coca-Cola Oreos and have them at home. What else do you got? We ran into that problem in Canada. Remember? We had to go to Whole Foods. Walmart didn't have it. I need contact solution. That's really it. Oh, I guess I was gonna go down this aisle. That makes more sense. I found the contact solution that I use. This little bottle is $15. The whole, like I get 2 massive bottles at Sam's for like 20, but I need it. We're not supposed to be filming. We got in trouble. Okay, so my thoughts on Smith's. I was not blown away. It's not any different than like Food Lion or anything. We came here thinking that it would be better than like Walmart, and it wasn't. Middle of the road, like it was fine. The lady wasn't very nice though. She didn't want us recording, but luckily we got through everything for the most part, and then we snuck the rest. But we got everything that we needed. We have oats at the Airbnb. Oats and Elevate cream of rice will be my main carb sources for carbing up. And then the rice milk that you saw. Protein goes on minimal amounts the last 2 days, so we definitely don't need more chicken. We got distilled water. I got 2 for myself. That's about usually all that I need. My water gets cut pretty decently. Hopefully Martin got his own, or we'll have to come back and get more. But that should be about all that we need, and we'll finish this peak week out. And that's a wrap on today. Make sure you keep following. We'll be documenting the rest of our peak week going into the show. We are outside with no keys, so it's gonna take forever anyway. Martin's calling me. Hello? He was calculating how much rice milk I got and if I got Mrs. Dash, which I already ordered from Target. When we measure our salt, we obviously don't use seasonings with salt in them. So we use like something like Mrs. Dash, just some kind of salt-free seasoning to flavor the chicken so it has some kind of flavor. Because when we cook our rice for the day, which I guess is the third carb source, we'll put the salt directly into the rice and then cook it. So all the salt for the day is in the rice. So if you want flavor on your chicken, you need something other than salt. I did get a pack of M&Ms because my prejudging and finals is all in one day. So I compete Friday morning, afternoon at prejudging, and then evening at finals. Martin's prejudging is Friday evening, and then his finals is Saturday evening. So I'm gonna have a little cute purse and be all dressed up and have M&Ms in my purse to snack on. I'll have M&Ms, and then I have a baggie of sesame sticks. Those are my favorite snack, and I always eat them post-show. 10 minutes or so. And we asked Martin how much he had left, and he said like 2 things. So who's the more efficient one? Under 5. He said that they were like getting ready to cash out, so.
I'm taking the over.
He better not take his time because he knows we're standing out here. We're not in the fanciest part of town here. I like scratch tickets. That's a wrap.